Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Raghav Jagannathan. Welcome to this webinar on unlocking iManage, NetDocuments SharePoint DMS insights within Microsoft Copilot with KLapper. Before we get going, we're just going to open up a brief poll just to understand the profile of the audience and your current journey with Copilot and what you guys are currently doing with Copilot. So if you can please spare a couple of minutes to respond to that survey. While you guys do that, just a quick intro about myself. My name is Raghav Jagannathan. I've been working with AI technologies since 2018. I'm also a speaker at many different worldwide conferences, including conferences, especially in the legal community at ILTACon, ILTA Evolve, and Arc Legal, and so on and so forth. Also contribute a fair number of articles, especially on AI, to ILTA blogs, as well as some of my articles were featured in the Peer-to-Peer magazine last year as well. I'm also the founder and CEO of a company called KLST. We are the leading digital services, SharePoint consulting services, and Microsoft 365 consulting services provider for law firms. We work with around 27 law firms, around 20 mid-sized firms. And today I'm representing my software subsidiary, Cobot, which is a creator of this amazing product called KLapper, a private AI platform for law firms. Just a quick intro about KLapper before we get going with the demos with Copilot. KLapper is the world's first private AI platform. It's 100% private, meaning that the platform deploys right inside your firm, within your firm's Azure tenant. So anything that KLapper learns is trained on from a documents data perspective, securely lives within your tenant. All its data stays where your firm's data lives. So never leaves your firm's firewall, virtual firewall. It's not accessible to anybody, including us as a vendor. So it's a 100% private AI platform. It's also a secure platform, so which means that KLapper not only learns data that is within these knowledge repositories, it also understands the security around that data. So for example, if you cannot access something in iManage, or you cannot access something in NetDocuments or SharePoint, or even in SQL, you will not be able to surface that intelligence in KLapper. And also last but not the least is an ethical platform. I have a number of different demo scenarios during this webinar that I'll showcase that shows the ethical capabilities of KLapper, including the technical implications of that, which is the ability for KLapper to learn ethical walls around data sets, especially stored in iManage and NetDocs. So KLapper recognizes the data, ethical walls around the data, and prevents unauthorized access in many different channels where you might be accessing KLapper intelligence, including Copilot. Again, going back a step back, really understanding the platform itself, KLapper is an agent building platform, aka system building platform. The idea behind KLapper is to create no-code assistance using a connectors to learn data within the source systems by point, click, and configure without the need for you to download that content into KLapper or upload into KLapper and so on and so forth. So our ability to learn directly from NetDocuments workspaces, directly from iManage workspaces, directly from SharePoint lists and libraries, including data, metadata, security, really makes KLapper a very unique agent builder platform. And once you build the agent in KLapper, I'll show you during the demo, you have the ability to surface those agents in an omni-channel approach. One of the channel we support is Microsoft Copilot, which is one of the the main focus areas for today's webinar. So I have many different use cases of prompts that will showcase how KLapper is able to surface intelligence from your knowledge applications within Microsoft Copilot. But beyond Copilot, KLapper also deploys within Microsoft SharePoint, within your search bar of your SharePoint intranet or extranet, as a chatbot, also as an agent within Teams, as well as in many different platforms, including as iOS app, an Android app, a Windows app. So basically take an agent in your pocket. Literally, that's the idea. And you can also surface KLapper agents within Microsoft Word documents. A different demo for a different day. but basically Clapper can use that intelligence it learned from your knowledge systems to redline contracts and create contracts and agreements. Once again, Clapper deploys in your firm's Azure tenants a 100% private AI platform, data connectors, and it has agentic AI capabilities as well. I've done webinars prior to this, and we have some upcoming webinars to showcase those capabilities. Not the focus for today, but Clapper can do timesheets on behalf of you, like the screenshot here. On the right-hand side, it can complete administrative tasks on behalf of the attorney. So it's agentic AI capabilities. Clapper ships with advanced reporting capabilities powered by our partner Engage, both from a Copilot reporting perspective as well as agent-to-agent reporting perspective. So basically looking at each interaction with each agent in different channels and seeing how effective that agent is, how your attorneys continue to use that. So Clapper ticks many boxes on use cases. Today's session is not about a PowerPoint presentation. It's all about demo. So what I'm going to do here is basically focus on a number of different prompts we've crafted based on content that we've trained an agent on. So on this note, I'm going to quickly switch over to my demo. So just to kind of set expectation before I switch over to Copilot and show you those prompts in action. So as I said, Clapper is an agent, an assistant builder platform that deploys in your firm's Azure tenant. So for the purpose of this demo, I have a number of different agents here. It is an omni-channel, a multi-LLM platform, which means that Clapper can be used to create agents that are running either an OpenAI 4.0 or can be run with Claude or Gemini or Llama or Mistral. Today's agent we're going to focus on is this little agent called Clappy. And that agent basically is an agent built on Microsoft Azure OpenAI 4.0. Again, this agent is running securely within our Azure tenant, private AI, as I said before. And within this agent, I've trained this agent on a number of different data sources. You can see here, we have many different connectors that can connect to websites, network shares, SharePoint, NetDocuments, iManage, and so on. It has the ability to learn directly from the data source. And in this instance, Clappy agent that I've trained before the demo is basically trained on a number of different data sources from NetDocuments as well as iManage, where I have the ability to directly select, for example, NetDocs from a cabinet, select the workspace, select the folders or multiple workspaces, add them as data source to this agent, and the agent's ready to basically surface intelligence from those data sources. And when I say intelligence, it's learned the data within those data sources, workspace data, folder data. It also learned the metadata on those documents. It's also learned the security on those documents as well. So basically within Clapper, for this agent, when you interact with it, it's able to surface all that intelligence just by using very powerful prompts. Same with iManage. I've simply pointed it just for demo purposes to a data source that has many different types of content. And a lot of my prompts is going to use that. Also, just to set expectations, how this agent basically gets available in Copilot. With Clapper, we make it super easy. So you have the ability to do one-click deployment. So you have one-click deployment to Microsoft Teams, one-click deployment to SharePoint, one-click deployment into Copilot, which is the focus area for today. Before we go kind of show you Copilot, I just want to quickly show you, for example, in SharePoint, a lot of the people here, I'm sure, use SharePoint, love SharePoint. Clapper has the ability to deploy right into the search bar of SharePoint. You can see here an example of a prompt that I've pasted here that's going into a time and billing platform and surfacing intelligence. So Clapper has the ability to build an agent that's built once and deployed into many different platforms like Teams, SharePoint, and Copilot. So right now, I'm going to focus on Copilot. So I've deployed this agent, use this option, deploy to Copilot as an agent option to deploy this agent into Copilot. So Copilot has a capability called agent-to-agent conversation. So using the agent-to-agent communication, we are able to surface this as a custom agent, Clapper agent, the specific agent called Clappy, right within Copilot. So you can see here, all my custom agents are deployed right here, and my Clappy agents right here. So I have two ways to interact with the agent. Once you build that agent in Clapper, deploy it using the deploy to Copilot option, and the agent's visible in Copilot, you have two ways to interact with it. You have the ability to interact with it just by using the @ symbol, @Clappy, for example, and you can start interacting with it. So if you do not specify the agent name, it's just a straight up Microsoft 365 intelligence surfacing. So I have the ability to surface content based on whatever content I have in Microsoft 365, especially emails and Teams and OneDrive. But with our agent-to-agent conversation, because my agent is trained on iManage data, on NetDocs data, SharePoint data, even SQL data, because I've connected our agent to a 3 database, an Elite 3 database for it to learn data from. I'll show you some prompts how to do that, how to surface the intelligence. So basically, with agent-to-agent conversation, this agent will now interact, Copilot will interact with Clapper agent, Clappy, to surface that intelligence. So let's have a look at that in action. So I'm just going to simply ask, ping the Clappy agent. I'm going to ask a simple question here, which is to do some, kind of a little bit of, it's not a simple question, actually. I'll start with this prompt where I'm asking it to analyze a matter that I'm currently working on, and it's in 3E, where I'm asking it to basically identify any tasks that are consistently going over budget. So you can see here, right within Copilot, it's connecting to my Clappy agent, using this prompt to process data, connecting to its intelligence, which is already learned from that database. It'll come back with a set of tasks that was basically running a little bit over budget. You can see the deposition preparation is being consistently taking longer. So this intelligence actually came from a Fabric data. So we have a Fabric data. Microsoft Fabric is a data lake where the data is, the 3 data is currently being consolidated, and Clapper, through its connector into Fabric, was able to connect to the data set, learn it, and I'm able to ask it prompts to basically surface that. So let's go back to the, from a DMS perspective, some of the examples. So I have, prior to the demo, because it's a short webinar, I played a number of these prompts to make sure that we are not waiting on for a response on the screen. So for example, so a lot of these prompts here that have basically has gone in and learned the data from an iManage workspace, and I'm able to query that content right within Copilot. For example, the first prompt I have here is to summarize all the risk clauses within an NDA for a specific matter, but I'm asking it to flag any specific terms that is a deviation from our playbook. Just to give you some context of what I'm talking about here. So I have this NDA that I received from my client, Norris Unlimited, is a fake client. And basically, I'm asking Clapper to analyze this document. Remember, I trained this agent, Clappy, on all documents, all metadata, all security content within that folder code rulings in iManage. I showed you that before. So basically, as part of the learning, it went and read this document inside out, read the metadata on the document. As you can see, there is metadata on the document, the client name, or the client number, and the matter number. And it's also learned the data about the document and the security of the document. And then I've asked it to compare it against my playbook document, which is my base NDA playbook. So going back to my prompt in Copilot, so what I'm doing here is I'm asking you to summarize all the risk clauses in this specific NDA, but I'm not calling it by name. I'm calling it by client matter number. So Norris Unlimited is a client name. So I'm simply saying client name NDA and compare that with any deviations that might be from my base NDA document, a playbook document. So Clapper gets into work, and right within Copilot, I'm able to get a response from my Clappy agent and have that surface right here in Microsoft Copilot. So second example here is the ability to, again, extract a number of defined terms from this specific NDA that I have and provide a simple language explanation to the client. So again, I'm just showing you these prompts just to kind of help you understand that an agent that is kind of that is trained on data from a DMS, in this case iManage, is able to kind of seamlessly surface that intelligence right here within Copilot. Right. So so some examples here. I was going to show you one more example before I show you a live working demo. So it's the third example here is the ability to analyze a commercial lease document I have in that specific location, and I'm asking it to highlight some unusual termination rights. So let me set the context of here. So you can see here I have a commercial lease document in the exact same location, court rulings. You can see a commercial Contos LLP commercial lease agreement. And rather than going through that agreement and figuring all this out, I've simply gone into Copilot, asked my Clappy agent, add Clappy or within the Clappy agent, to highlight unusual termination rights in that agreement. And you can see here, it automatically highlights those for me right within Copilot. So one of the key things to note here before I go into a couple of more live demos is with Copilot obviously being a super smart generative AI tool set that learns your emails, learns your Teams messages, learns your meetings, learns your OneDrive, and so on and so forth. With an agent powered by Clapper that's learned data from your knowledge systems, including SQL databases, Fabric data lakes, iManage, NetDoc, SharePoint, network share folders and files, including permissions, data, and so on and so forth, you now have the ability with the Clapper agent to surface all that intelligence right within Copilot. Right. So one more example here, but before I show you a live demo, is the ability to go through a document, a really interesting prompt. Rather than reading this 30-page document, Clapper is able to list all the key deadlines on the document and suggest a timeline for paralegal to follow up. So one of the things that often I get asked during this webinar is, so we are a global law firm, we are multilingual, what about other languages? So Clapper does support many different languages, around 88 languages. So the same example that I showed you before was in English, and I'm not a native English Spanish speaker, but you can see here the same question I asked with data trained in English. You can see here, this is the document. It's read and understood from this folder, court rulings in iManage. It's read and understood this document inside out, top to bottom, metadata, content, document content, and security. So going back to Copilot, I can ask questions in my favorite language. I can ask in Arabic, in Mandarin, in Spanish, in French, and it's able to understand the question. And here you can see here, it's able to respond back to me in Spanish, knowing that I've asked the question in Spanish, it gives a response in Spanish, right? So basically, before we play some live demos, I'm going to open up the floor to a couple of more questions or surveys. So if you can please feel free to respond to these two questions, helps us again better understand the profile of the audience and some of the key challenges they're looking for, so I can tailor my presentation better. So while you guys do that, I'm going to show you some live demos now of Clapper in action. So I can do that right here within the Clappy agent, or I can go back to the Copilot and just say add Clappy. Is the same thing. It does the exact same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into the Clappy agent here, and I'm going to copy a couple of prompts here that I have. I am going to share these prompts with you guys, where a lot of our audiences found these prompts useful to create their own prompts. Some of the prompts here I'm going to showcase here are our training and ethics prompts. Basically, the ability to create prompts out of prompts, or even to draft prompts to, for example, this one right here, I'm going to play right now. Okay, so let's go back to our agent. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play that prompt, which is the prompt here says, as a trainer, draft a prompt-based exercise to help new associates practice redlining of non-disclosure agreements using the KLSC standard non-disclosure agreement, which is the playbook document I showed you before. So because Clapper has learned the data, it's now going to analyze the data, and it's going to come up with a series of prompts that you can then share with your associates through the prompt management module in Clapper, so which I'll show you at the end of the webinar if time permits. But Clapper has a full-blown prompt management module where you can create prompts, reuse prompts, save prompts, and so on and so forth that can be shared across your firm. Okay, so we'll wait for this prompt to process and come back with results. But meanwhile, while we're doing that, I just want to show you guys, there you go. It's coming back and crafting the entire prompt for me. Basically a prompt exercise based on the document that lives in iManage in this example, right? So the document it actually learned from is this specific document playbook, and based on this prompt, it's gone in and followed my instructions and has created a a draft prompt-based exercise that I can then load into the prompt builder module of KLapper and share it with my associates to use and train and self-train themselves. Okay, so that's one live example of a training and ethics prompts in action. I want to show you one more example here. So you see that there are a couple of confidentiality documents that are there in iManage in this specific example. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to ask it to, I don't want to read these confidential documents. I'm going to go back to KLapper here or Copilot, and I'm going to ask this agent Clappy, and I'm going to say that, okay, so find me all the flag documents where the confidentiality clause is usually one-sided. So again, it's learned all this data from all the DMS data sources. Let's try it again. And what it should come back to me is basically it's going to cite the different confidentiality clauses that are typically one-sided. So it's going to come back and give me that answer in a second. So basically, I can show you additional prompts here, more examples. But again, the idea here is that the data, again, lives in the DMS sources like iManage, NetDocs, and SharePoint. You can see here it's come back and tell me that, look, this is the document, notice unlimited, and here's the confidentiality clause that sounds and feels like one-sided. And note how it's also doing a citation here. So if I click on it, it actually opens the document. I'm in Copilot there, by the way. So when I click on the document, it now opens the document in iManage to tell me exactly where it found this information from. Okay, so that's an example of Copilot in action with intelligence surface from a DMS platform like iManage, NetDocs, and SharePoint. I'm going to show you some additional prompts here. We call this advanced context setting prompts. Based on the prompts that I've already shared right now, it takes the context of the conversation, the Clappy agent, and it's able to build on top of that. And this is really cool. So we call it advanced context setting prompts. For example, here, I'm going to give you an example, which is going back to the data that is trained on currently, which is this one right here. You can see here that there is a number of different memos and documents that this agent is trained on. It's also trained on a bunch of motions that's right here. It's also trained on some data that are basically closing statements and opening statements and exhibits for a specific matter related to a fraud matter, right? So it's called Julie Larson fraud kind of matter. So which is something I found on the internet. So I literally got KLapper to go and train on all the documents that was just publicly available. So I pointed it to all the location on the to the website, and then I simply asked KLapper to go and learn the data. So I downloaded all the motions and the pleadings and whatnot documents as OCR documents and non-OCR documents. I uploaded into iManage in this code rulings folder those 3 documents, and then I simply asked KLapper to go and learn that data using our iManage connector. So that gives you a little bit of context of what I'm about to show you for this Julie Larson fraud memo matter. So let me go back to my Contoso, my Copilot example, and play this prompt for you, just for you to see a live example of how KLapper learned all the web content, learned all the non-OCR and OCR documents, basically scan documents, scan images, paper documents, and scan documents that's telligible with telligible text that an agent can learn both. So KLapper can learn both non-OCR and OCR documents. And I'm going to simply show you a prompt here within Clappy. So basically, I'm asking you to go and review the memo documents and highlight any assumptions on potential bias that may require a review by a counsel. So let's see what KLapper comes back with. So remember, there are many different data sources in action here. That agent was trained on 3 web pages with content around this matter. It's been trained on 4 different documents, OCR and non-OCR documents, that lives in iManage. So KLapper is going to take all that intelligence in its brain that is contained within this agent, and now you are able to interact with that intelligence. It's surfacing right here in Copilot, right? So so you can see here it's coming back and telling me more about possible assumption and biases that exist in this specific memo, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and ask you to refine this prompt a little bit better. So what I'm going to say here is I'm going to ask you to refine this prompt iteratively to capture some strategic nuances when searching prior litigation summary. So I'm going to ask it this question. So it's going to take the context of that prompt from the top, and it's going to and also intelligence already has in its brain, and it should be coming back with some more refined prompts that I can use. So let's wait and watch. So again, just to kind of let everybody know, this is all happening in Copilot, right? So this agent, Clappy, is basically being trained on all those different data sources from iManage, from NetDoc, SharePoint, websites, network shares, and so on. And for this specific matter, you're interacting with that intelligence right here in Copilot, right? So you can see here, it came back with me a series of prompt recommendation suggestions that I can now use for basically just improving how I capture the case strategy nuances. Okay, so moving on here. So I want to show you a couple more examples of advanced context setting prompts. Again, these are data that KLapper, this specific agent Clappy, is learned from iManage. All right, so let me show you one more prompt here in action. Again, we are going to share these prompts with you guys just for educational purposes as a post-webinar follow-up, so that you can use these prompts in your own context by tweaking it as you see fit. But you can see here, again, based on some of the deposition transcripts that we have for a specific matter, these are deposition transcripts that actually exist here, right here. I'm asking a question on just telling me more about some of the objections that might have come up by the opposing counsel, but specifically for exhibit number 4. So again, just to show you that context or document in iManage, you'd see that it's a very large document, on 30-40 pages document, and it's a non-OCR document. So it's a document that has not been scanned. It's just a scanned paper, basically. The text has not been converted to readable text. So, but still, KLapper is able to read that document and is able to kind of understand, make sense of it from iManage, and is now able to answer those questions specific to that exhibit 4 where there were objections raised. Okay, so hopefully that gave you an idea of how an agent that is built with KLapper, just to kind of connect the dots here, this specific agent that was built with KLapper, a private AI security ethical AI platform, you basically build that agent once, you train it on many different data sources, from websites through to network shares, through to file URLs, through to documents that might live in your computer, through to NetDocuments, through to iManage, depending on your DMS, through to SharePoint list and library. And then you can basically, once you have the agent built out, you can simply do a one-click deployment to surface that agent in Copilot. And once that agent lives in Copilot, you can interact with that agent. You can basically ask that agent questions either by directly clicking on the agent or clicking on Copilot and simply invoking the agent by agent name. So basically, we call this, as I said, agent-to-agent conversation that basically helps you surface data now from your knowledge management applications that is otherwise almost unreachable for Copilot. All right. So we see a lot of questions in the Q&A chat right now. So we have 2 minutes left. So what I'm going to do here is, as I said before, we are going to share this presentation with you guys. So you have this presentation handy to craft up your own prompts based on some of the time and billing prompts I showed you for understanding surfacing intelligence from data warehouses and data lakes, but also some of the advanced context setting prompts I showed you, so you can use these examples for future purposes. This slide deck will also have a QR code if you want to have a follow-up demo to dive into more details on some of the demo scenarios I showed you. But let me try to answer some of these questions here. There's a boatload of questions. What we'll do is we'll try to answer some of them, given we have a minute left, and we'll include the answers to these questions part of the post-webinar follow-up. The first question here I'm going to take up is, did KLapper get created by Copilot Studio? And if so, could we extend KLapper's data source to our own custom data sources like Dataverse, SQL? The answer is no. The agent that I was showing you before, it was created by our KLapper Builder platform, is our agent builder platform that deploys privately in your Azure tenant. And the agent that Clapper creates in this example called Clappy, we have a one-click deployment into Copilot. So you don't need a Power Automate connectors. You don't need to buy those premium connectors. Clapper has basically connectors into common legal KM applications. So you can build an agent, train on your knowledge management application data, and then you can deploy this agent right within Copilot. The second question I'm going to take up here, and that's probably the last question, is can it work with iManage on-prem? Can it work with previous versions of documents in iManage, like do comparisons? Absolutely, yes. So we support all versions of iManage, Work Server from 10.2 to 10.4, 10.4 plus, and iManage Cloud. So we support all versions of iManage Work Server and on-prem. Because Clapper is a private AI platform, it can securely connect to any application behind their firewall, including iManage, including SharePoint on-prem. I'm going to take on one question here, which is maybe you covered this at the beginning. Who uses Clapper Builder, an admin or each end user for himself? Clapper Builder is used by an administrator, a knowledge management attorney, a knowledge management professional, an IT user who designs agents. Once you build the agent, you deploy the agent in Copilot, Teams, SharePoint, or any of the channels, so it can be used by your attorneys, your end users. So Clapper Builder is not for end users. Clapper Builder is for admins and knowledge management attorneys and knowledge management professionals to build these agents. Once you deploy the agent in a channel, it can be used by end users. Thank you so much for this amazing interactive session. We will be sending out post-webinar presentation, slide deck, also questions, answers, as well as a recording to this presentation. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.